1, 2, 3. Blue railroad train going down the railroad track, make me feel so doggone blue to listen to that old smokestack. Drivers rolling on, leaving me here behind. Take me back to the good old days, let me ramble down the line. Alright, excuse me. As you probably guessed, we're going to go over one of my favorite songs to play, one of the best songs I ever learned, Blue Railroad Train by Tony Rice. And I had this request from one of the YouTube subscribers to do this, and so we're going to work on that today. And so there's a lot of stuff to be covered in this, so this may be broken down into a couple different lessons, which is fine. I'm going to try not to take too much of your time each lesson. I've been trying to work on my timing and everything. This song is originally in F, which is down here on the capo, but since a lot of bluegrass people play in D, and a lot of fiddle tunes are played in D, I figured we could get it to play it in D, so we can get used to soloing and playing around in the key of D. And it starts off, by the way, you can find this as well on Tony Rice's master class, and I'll have a link to that in the bottom of the show more area, so you can look at that, and I'll have a link to that Tony Rice master class from Homespun Tapes. He goes over this as well. And so it starts out, like I said, the key of F, but we're going to be in D. And the first note is an open D. Kind of kicks it off, and then we have like a little D run. And then it's back to the open A. Let me zoom in and kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. Okay, and what I do when I play that open A is I get my fingers ready to do this little slide. So instead of going back to the D, I get my hand ready when the open A is ringing to hit that slide there at the first fret to the second fret, where your normal finger will be your first finger. But you could do that, but then you'd have to come back anyway to hit that. So I usually just do my middle finger, that way my first finger is ready and poised for position. So that's actually the D with other fingers, or you can do it with this finger. It's a cool little lick. And then you can, most of the time I choose to go, that way I'm not playing a D and having to get back to this big stretch here. But Tony Rice, he usually goes right back to the D and plays a couple notes of it. And then gets ready. So just whatever you feel comfortable with. I usually, that way that open string is ringing, it gives me time to get back here to that note. So far we've got back to the D. And then the next really cool lick is going to incorporate this thing again. Some of that, but it starts out with your pinky on the 5th fret of the A string. And then you're going to stretch down here to your first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. And it's going to be and if you listen to Tony Rice, you hear this thing a lot. And that's the same thing. It's only one time. Okay, and then what happens is you're going to switch, you move your hands up, but you're going to hit open G and an open D. And that'll take a little bit of practice here because it's really tricky going back and forth. Those 2 open notes give us time to come back here. So practice that for a little bit. So after that open D, you're going to hit that little pull off. And then it's going to go back, and that's the 7th of D, because we're going to go into a G chord. So it's leading in to a G chord. And then usually when I hit that, I hit a couple open notes after it. And then we do a little G run. And Tony Rice, he does it a mixture of this, and he also does so open G, open D, open G. But you always go back to this fretted note here, and then, or so it's kind of like a backtrack. If you've watched my backtracking video, it's kind of a backtrack to that A string. Then after that we do a okay, and that's a cool little D lick. After that it goes back to the open, or the original D run there. So we have in effect this, and then this, and in between those we have just those 2 notes. So it's a fretted note first and an open note. So far we've got and then after that it goes, kind of hangs around in those 2 strings. To get you in the next part, the second part. Right here, this is part of one of the scale shapes. We've talked about pentatonic shapes way back in an older video of mine, soloing with pentatonic scales. Excuse me. And right here is box 3 of the minor pentatonic scale for D. Position, shape 3, pattern 3, whatever you want to call it. It's box 3 of the minor pentatonic scale for D. And if we were to realize that and kind of imagine that around our D chord, this is our root. So from the root, have a big pinky stretch, another pinky stretch, and then 3 whole step shapes on the last 3 strings. And there's our root, and there's our other root. So the second part is going to be using that much of the scale. Our pinky fingers on the 5th fret, back down to the 1st finger on the 2nd fret. This is the G string. 5th fret, D string, back to the G. So we're kind of holding this here. And then a little slide. 3rd fret, D string, 4th fret, open. Now, Tony says that you can do it 2 different ways. You can do this, or this way. It's a longer stretch, a longer slide, longer interval, or for the more bluesy sound, I like it like that better, from the 3rd fret. So for the 3rd fret or the 2nd fret on the A string, either way you want to do it, it slides up to the 5th fret every time. And then another open D, and then back to this thing again. So this part repeats itself, and we have that little section, and we go back to the G run again. We do that one time, or whichever one you want to do, whichever one you're comfortable with. I tend to lean towards this one. I just tend to do that one every time. So after this, it's going to be one of those and then a full G run. So now this is important. When you hit that open G, your hand needs to be right here in the 5th and the 7th fret positions. If you played a D chord as a power chord, or as kind of like a B suspended style chord, you have the 5th fret, the 7th fret. You need your fingers to be right in there, because we're going to do the open string lick. Now, there's a really cool section about open strings I'm probably going to get into in the next video, but they're really handy for transitional tools. And Tony Rice, this is where I first heard of this for Tony, and it just opened a new world to me, opened a whole new can of worms, so to speak, and it really helps you move around. In fact, it was the master class, the very first Tony Rice DVD I think that I saw of him, his instructional DVD, and he really mentioned that when he talked about Happy Trom's brother, Artie. And so what we're going to do is G is going to get us ready for the 7th fret here on the E string, and we're just going to hit 7, 5, and then 6 on the B string, and then open E. And that E string, just as when we shifted positions with the open G, we shifted positions when we hit the open G. When we hit that open E, we're going to shift back down to this D position. Notice that? Gives me time to get back down here. Now this fingering is one of the more difficult ones. You kind of have to see the D chord is, instead of playing it like this, you play it like this. Which, if you've seen some of my other videos, I talk about playing the D shape like this, because it helps you when you're up the fretboard, like in, say, the key of G. helps you get those closed notes a lot better. So you have to see the D shape like this, and we're going to incorporate some of this stretch again that we did here. Not the exact same lick, but you need to have your fingers ready for that. Okay, so moving, shifting position, and then the very next note we land after the E is the D, and we're going to land it with our middle finger. So we're going to walk it down from there. So you might want to practice that much, and this is starting on an upstroke. And it's all alternate picking. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So that's a good little thing to practice by itself. And then it goes back. Okay. And then after that it goes hammer on to the 3rd fret of the A string, open D, open A. And then I do this different too. I just noticed the other day when I went back and did some studying and research for this song, the way Tony did it. He does this, but I tend to do this. Or you could go, but he does it like this. Back to the open A, and then 3rd fret E, 1st, 2nd, open D. So the second part, try it again. And I'm not used to that, that's why I keep messing it up. So the whole thing, very slowly. Oops. And another thing, shifting, when automatically I notice when I'm back here, about the second time I do that, I know where my hand is and I don't have to worry about looking there at that spot. One of the secrets of playing fast guitar and playing bluegrass guitar, and just about any kind of lead, is anytime you want to switch positions, you have to be looking there before you get there. So while I'm here, my fingers know where they're at, so I don't have to look at this anymore. A lot of times we don't think about that. We always look where we're at instead of where we're going. With a guitar, and if you've ever read music, they call it sight reading. You're always reading ahead of where you're at, so you'll know where to get to next. And so, and another thing Tony Rice says on that master class, he talks about how, he's talking about it on the cross-picking section when he's talking about Church Street Blues and I Don't Want Your Millions, Mister. He talks about how playing guitar is kind of like billiards, where you kind of have to set yourself up for the next shot. And I've always remembered that. That has always stuck with me. It's brilliant, really, because that's exactly what it's like. You're always moving around to get to the next spot before you need to be there. So right now, as soon as I do the hammer on, I'm looking down here in the 5th and 7th fret areas so that I can land there. If I wait until I get there, I may overshoot it, I may not get there, it'll just throw me off, and then what happens there is you kind of a domino effect. you lose your train of thought and you get stuck and you don't know where you're going after that. So it's always good to look ahead and prepare yourself. Looking there. And once I hit this note, once I land there, it's good to, now that you know where you're at and you got your fingers trained to do that, and your picking hand trained to do that. It's good once you land here to go back and look where you're going to go next, which is on the second or third fret, so that you can land there in time. And that is Blue Railroad Train. And real quick, the one that I did before, and then the one that I do, in case you want to learn that one too. Let's see. It's right here. Instead of hitting the open A again, I'm hitting the third fret of the E string, and then just one of those. So friends, my time is up. I'm going to conclude this video, but on the next video I'll use some of Blue Railroad Train to illustrate the importance of paying attention to your open strings so that you can always move around effortlessly on the guitar, and we will work on that. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for subscribing. Tell your friends, and make sure you check out my website, www.secretsoftexasbluesguitar.com. And one more thing, thank you all for participating in my Bluegrass course survey. I got a few results back, and I'm going to work with those and kind of build my course around those ideas. I really appreciate your input. Really helps me serve you better, and really helps me get things right on the guitar. And I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson, and this is dedicated to the one that asked me about it in the first place to do it. There's so many people that ask me different things, so I don't know the username, but thank you for the idea. And I can't believe I didn't think of it first, because it's a song I like to play. But we'll go over this a little bit more of this song in depth, do different things you can use, and the different licks that are in this that you can use for other songs in the next video. So thank you, and I will talk to you next time. See you later.